Hi everyone, my name is Sere Williams. I'm a biology student here at Colorado State University, and I want to talk to you about where your food comes from. We all eat food, we all go to the grocery store, we buy our food. Maybe even some of you garden, but most of our food just shows up for us. It comes out of the ground, shows up at the store, we get to eat it. Great. This food is dependent on our environment, on our soils, and on our climate. So sometimes we have droughts, and half of our food is gone all of a sudden. I'm lucky enough to have grown up in a country where we have great supply chains, and I haven't experienced a huge food shortage. Once I was in Cuba, and I stood outside a grocery store for 30 minutes, and I went inside, and the only things I had on the shelves were cereal and rum. That was it. I went to a restaurant, and I had a great meal, but that's not always the case for everyone. So I'm not going to talk about food from Cuba, but I will talk about rice. Rice feeds a lot of people, and here's what rice looks like based on the consumption based by country in the world. Over here, where those countries are really enlarged, that's where about 2 billion people live. And rice constitutes 60% of their daily caloric intake, okay? Now droughts, which happen very frequently, take away over 10% of their caloric intake on a daily basis. This is very significant for people that often have no other choice of where they're getting their food. So I want to talk about agriculture and rice now. We grow rice using fresh water. It uses about 70% of Asia's freshwater resources. So when droughts hit, it's particularly severe. This is now historically how we've kind of changed the land. We plant these crops, we've built these dikes to hold water in. 10,000 years ago, this is what happened with the agricultural revolution. Now we have fertilizers, we have tractors, we're growing our food in amazing ways to produce enough food to sustain over 7 billion people on the planet. What else we're doing, and this is what I'm working on, is we're working in genetics. So I have 2 different varieties of rice here. They have slightly different genetics. Inside the cell, their DNA is a little bit different. And they look pretty similar. But when we drought them, this variety, variety 1, it doesn't handle it very well. Variety 2 does. Why? Why is this happening? How could we get more variety 2 growing to feed people? So I look inside the plant. Here, we see a heat map of the genetic, or the genes in these 2 varieties of rice, or in this first variety of rice when exposed to drought stress, and when it's not exposed to drought stress. And as you can see, they're different. They're almost the exact opposite from each other. Here, in variety 2, again, they're different. But when you compare variety 1 to variety 2, they're also different in the water conditions, and then they're also different in the droughty conditions. So this is what I'm looking at, as I'm trying to figure out what are the genetic differences that make rice tolerant to drought so that we can grow more rice and feed more people in a healthy environment. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to talk to you about agriculture and where our food comes from. Thanks.